They don't want you to know what's happening in rural Britain, because if you did know, I think more people would be taking to the streets. In today's walk and talk, we're going on a path that I've not taken before. I've had this marked for a long time, so it's going to be quite interesting. You've got to see the scenery behind me here as we talk about. I've got a very sad story to share with you as well about what is actually happening at the moment, because we've covered before about what's happening to the farmers, the British farmers. Just terrible what is happening to them by the UK government, because they are being absolutely crushed at the moment with this new inheritance tax law. And I've got some statistics for you as well, because I know you love your statistics. The UK has seen 6,365 agricultural businesses shut down over the last 12 months. Think about that. 6,365 ag businesses. So this is your farming, your fishing, anything to do with food. That is how many have closed. So how does this work then? Well, if a farm is valued at £1 million or more, there is now inheritance tax to pay on that of 20%. And if you're not aware, it might seem like, well, they must be rich if they're millionaires. It's asset rich, cash poor. Sometimes the farmers aren't able to raise the cash unless they sell off a lot of their land, which then gets sold to these big, huge hedge funds and some of the other things, your BlackRocks of the world and everything else. And this is one of the issues that we're having. So the government seems to think this is a good idea, that we sell off all of our family farms to these huge faceless entities. And I would say it's not a good idea. Please let me know in the comments below what you think, because I don't know about you, but since I've grown up, meals have changed a little bit. The food has changed quite dramatically, I would say. It's not what it used to be like at all. I remember when food was reasonably priced. If you wanted your meat, vegetables and potatoes for your evening meal, it was reasonably priced. Not these days. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is economics 101, because if you keep having all these farms closing, it means that there is less food. If there's less food, that means that prices go up, because there isn't going to be less people. And it's quite interesting. We've got some blackberries behind me here, so we've got some free food right now, right behind me. But it's not just people like me and you watching who know what's going on and is warning about this. The NFU, the National Farmers Union, the CLA, everyone is raising the red flag and saying to the government, do you understand what you're doing? You are crushing the food supply. Food prices are going to increase. You're going to have all sorts of problems. Pensioners aren't going to be able to afford food at this rate. The NFU report also says that the government taxation is dismantling farms, family farming. They're saying it's getting absolutely wiped out. They've also said that the rural decline is the fastest they have ever seen. Well, look at this. This is beautiful. What a beautiful view here today. Let me show you on the other side as well. I mean, why on earth would people not want to protect our farmers and our beautiful countryside like this? It doesn't make any sense. We're going to be, we're going to become machines at this rate. Machine farming, everything machine farming. It's crazy. Now, I've got to tell you this really sad story, and typically it's just started to rain. That really is typical. It's just started to rain here. So we'll see how we get on without ruining the camera. But this tragic story that I heard this morning, this was a 78-year-old man called Philip Charlesworth in the UK. He was so overwhelmed with distraught and anxiety that he just couldn't see a way out, a solution for his children who he wanted to inherit his farm. He did everything you can possibly think of to try and overcome this so he could pass on his family farm to his children, because like a lot of farmers, asset rich in terms of the land, but but cash poor, you know, didn't have a lot of assets apart from the land, didn't want to sell the land. So in order to get ahead of this April 2026 massive tax grab against the farmers, unfortunately, let's just say in a polite way, he is no longer with us. That was the decision that this 78-year-old man made in order that he could give his children a better life and that they didn't have to sell off the farm. To me, that is a disgrace. It is absolutely disgusting that these people in Whitehall, in the government, make these decisions that affect people and families, honest, good, hard-working people, these farmers that are doing this for us. It's just a disgrace. I don't know what you think. Please drop a comment if you agree with me. And DEFRA, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, they have said that even they are concerned. This is a government agency who's advised Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, and Keir Starmer, of course. Even they're concerned. They said, if we keep going at this rate, the entire industry is just collapsing and you're just going to have these mega farms taking over. And we've already seen what's happening with these mega farms. We've seen how they operate. We've seen the whatever they're putting into the food supply. I'll leave that to you in the comments. But even this government agency is sounding the alarm right now. It's not just me, it's not just other people. And that tells you something. It says there's division in their ranks here. But it's also the UK job. God, I'm getting absolutely hammered by this rain here. But it's also the UK jobs as well. This is another big one that's out today. UK job cuts surge as confidence in the economy collapses. And I've got to tell you as well about the savings rate and what's happening with the savings rate at the moment. Because British firms are cutting jobs at the fastest rate on record that we have. We don't have records going back further than this. This is staggering, and it's showing us the forecast I made many years ago that this would culminate eventually with the AI robotics taking jobs. And I said that the risk was this could happen at the exact same time as a major recession. And that's really what we're seeing. We're not just seeing a recession with this, we're seeing a trade war at the same time, as well as a conventional war in Eastern Europe, which the UK is heavily involved in funding. So we've got all sorts of these issues occurring at the same time. And we've got no growth in the UK either. So we're just being hit by everything, like I'm being hit with the rain for you right now. So I hope you've subscribed to the channel and clicked like on this. So firms are stockpiling cash now. They're not expanding. They're not doing research and development. They're not doing any of these things. Firms are battening down the hatches for what they see coming. And you just look at the unemployment rate. It's risen again. It's up to 4.7% now, which is the government rate. So double that, and you're closer to 10%. And I won't even get into how that works, but you just got to trust me on that. It's closer to 10%, the unemployment rate, because I will tell you, they include things like, if you're a takeaway driver and you do a couple of hours work on a Friday night, they include that as employed, when that's not employed. That's just a gig or a side hustle or something like that. And these job cuts are all around the world, by the way. It's not just the UK. These job cuts are everywhere. I just read an article that Intel is about to slash 15% of its workforce. They're also cancelling a number of investments. So they want to replace some of their workforce with AI and other things like that. Oh, let's get under this tree here. Thank you to this beautiful tree for giving us some shelter for a minute by the river here. And genuinely, if you have any concerns about your job or your income, or maybe like a lot of people, you're fed up with the work and you're fed up with the anxiety and everything else that's going on right now, just remember that you've always got options, always. I mean, what if I told you that wealth, and again, I don't just mean money here, but wealth, your true wealth is your time and freedom. But if you want to call it money, that's fine. But what if I told you that wealth isn't just about how you earn money, it's also about how you think. Because we all have this I like to call it a financial thermostat in our minds. And for a lot of us, this was programmed for us when we were children, either via parents, guardians, grandparents, or the school system very heavily reinforces this. It teaches you based on the Industrial Revolution sort of model of work. You know, you sit in rows in a classroom and you memorize things. It's not what I would call learning. That's why I always teach you based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we do experiential learning because you retain the information. Funny enough, many years ago, I was contacted by the Department of Education about some of the models that I'd made based on some of the, like Maslow's models and Dale Edgar and some of the other, great thinkers of the last century. And they wanted to look at some of my ideas to implement them in schools. That never happened. Let me just say that never happened, because once they realized what I was talking about and how kids would be experiential learners and they would no longer be memorizing things, it just didn't, that was never going to happen. Because if you think about it, we're all trapped in the same cycle. It's like, wake up, go to work, come home, people put on the TV or whatever they do. It's different for each person. It's like a monotonous existence. And I was no different, honestly. I worked like a dog every day because I didn't know any better. Now I'm glad to say that I don't work like that anymore, because I sort of cracked the code on how I can live free, so I don't have to work like a dog every day. And just get past these rocks and we'll continue the walk a second here. And that's why in my courses you can pretty much learn any of this stuff, anything that you want to learn, whether it's it is wealth psychology, whether it is how to start your own business, or whatever it is that you want to do. So what I'll do today, I'll put the Psychology of Wealth course on sale. There isn't any other courses on sale as of today, so I'll put that one on sale. I'll knock 90% off for anyone that wants to take that online course right now. And it will teach you the habits and how to shift your mindset and how to live a lot more free, so you don't ever have to be in the position that I was in, working like an absolute dog every single day because I didn't know any better. And yes, if you're wondering, yes, thousands of people have already taken that course and created freedom, financial freedom for themselves, as well as some of the other courses, because it is some of the top experts in the world, psychologists, that helped me to create that course. As with some of the other courses, I only bring on the best in the world for the courses. So yeah, link below in the description if you want to grab that. Now I want to carry on today by talking about the next big article, and that is that Britons are saving money like never before. And the reason why, this is why it's so unusual, because we're no longer in this sort of system where people save all the time. That's not really the system we live in anymore economically. So this is very interesting. British households are now saving at the fastest rate that we have seen in a very long time. So according to this fresh data, a record-breaking £14 billion was deposited into savings accounts in 1 month alone. That is not a typo. £14 billion in one single month. And 1/3 of the population now believes it's a good time to save. So let's have a look at some of the reasons why. Well, it's less to do with being a good steward of their money, and it's more to do with concern. A lot of people said they're concerned that the government is going to hike taxes in the autumn budget, tax hikes, taxes on savings, taxes on personal allowance. People are also concerned about layoffs and losing their jobs. Again, so it's not a good time at the minute. They say they're hoarding cash and delaying big purchases as well. Retailers have also reported a notable slowdown in discretionary spending. Things like travel, tech, home goods, these are down heavily at the moment. Economic confidence has also taken another hit because the GfK's consumer report has just come out, and it says that the consumer index has fallen all the way back to -19, which, let me just say, is not good That's not good at all. And with the government predicting a summer of unrest, as they are calling it, on top, have you seen all the stuff going on in Essex at the minute with these protests as well? If you look at the drone footage shows you everything you want to know. Look at the drone footage and it shows you how many police are surrounding the hotel in question versus how many police come out when a serious crime is sort of reported. And I mean a serious crime. And you look at that compared to, I mean, I couldn't even count the amount of police and vans that came out for this one hotel. It's just, it's crazy. Another crazy one today is yet again, another conflict has broken out, this time in Southeast Asia. So this is between Thailand and Cambodia. Yes, Cambodia and Thailand are now in a conflict. The Prime Minister has even said that he wouldn't rule out that Thailand will go to war with Cambodia. Wow. You're probably wondering, Neil, don't you live in Thailand half the year for the UK sort of winters? Yes, I do. Am I going back there? Oh, you probably won't. Yes, I am going to go this year, war or not. So how did this all start then? That's probably the first question. Well, a Thai soldier stepped on a landmine in the region, fighting broke out, a number of soldiers were killed. Thailand launched their F-16s, they started bombing. The bombing turned into artillery bombardments. 130,000 people have now been evacuated from the area as well. So it's really, really escalating quite quickly. It's all kicking off over there. But we can't do a walk and talk without covering one crazy story of the week. And this one was a real interesting one to me. So let me tell you this one. A woman in Arizona, USA, has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for operating a North Korean money laundering scheme. Yes, you did just hear that correctly. How on earth this even happened, I don't know. She had 90 laptops in her home running fake profiles to trick American companies into hiring agents she knew were working for Pyongyang. This was right across all major sectors: aerospace, media, automotive, allowing North Korea to evade sanctions and funnel over 17 million into its economy. To be fair, that's not that much money. 17 million. What's that? It's, 2 or 3 rockets for the US. It's not a lot, or should I say missiles. So she was convicted of fraud then and wire theft were the two main things. I thought she might have been convicted of something more serious than that, considering it's North Korea, but no, she's got 8 years in prison, made an absolute fortune. Sometimes you look at it and say, I can see why people do it sometimes, some of the people that do it. Because if they can make millions and millions from doing some of these things and they get 8 years in prison, for some people they might say, yeah, I think I'll give that a go. All right, well, thank you for being on this beautiful walk and talk with me today. Just a reminder, subscribe, click the like button, share the video, and definitely check out the course, the Psychology of Wealth course. I think you'll find that very, very valuable. But apart from that, thanks so much for being a subscriber here. Take care. God bless you. God bless your family. And I'll see you next week.